Here is a content hack to help you stand out in your niche so you can keep your pipeline full of engaged leads, new clients, and cash flow coming in. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that it's getting harder and harder and harder to stand out online. Whether you're in the weight loss space, relationships, mindset coaching, life coaching, whatever it may be, there are a lot of other people that are out there posting content, spouting out information, having programs. But the good news is that there are plenty of opportunities, and there are more people now than ever that need coaching from people like you and I. But the problem that comes in right now is that there are a lot of people out there saying the same things, And so if you've been out there posting content, you're doing the things, so you're out there marketing, but you're having a hard time creating sustainability and consistency, and probably the better word is predictability around generating engaged leads. Like, it's easy to go find leads, you can find them anywhere, right? But actually engage leads and keeping your call calendar full of prospective customers and being able to sign up new clients. Maybe some weeks or some months you have like a great month, and other months are just like dip down, and you're just like, where's my next client coming from? Like, if you're doing that, you're experiencing that rather, some of the problems that are often happening right now, and I'm going to show you I'm going to explain what not to do and then what to do, is where a lot of people are going wrong here is they're just teaching at their audience way too much. All they're doing is like teach content, way too much of it. And there is no shortage of information. So it's like, if all we're doing is teaching at our audience, like, you could find that anywhere. How many YouTube videos are there? How many how-to videos are out there right now? How many people are out there on Facebook or Instagram, sharing workouts or mindset tips or nutrition tips? There's no shortage of information, right? And then you have and hopefully this is not you. If it is, I'm talking to you, but there's the Chat GPT coaches, right? Where they're just like Chat GPTing their content and a lot of other things, and they're putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're falling into one of these categories to where you're out there doing the stuff, but maybe you're teaching a little bit too much at your audience, you're just really doing a lot of how-to, a lot of information, a lot of spray and pray advice, and you're just hoping that it's going to be enough to show people that you're an expert and they're going to want to do business with you. Or if you're trying to use ChatGPT incredibly too much and just posting that content, you're likely falling in what I call the content commodity trap, to where you might be in the friend zone of your audience where they like your stuff, or you might even be in the expert zone of your content or with your audience to where they like you and they know you're an expert, but it's not enough to get people to want to buy from you, at least not consistently, right? And so what the big insight I want you to take away, and then I'll go into this content hack, is that you have to have content that creates demand and positions you as unique to your audience, to your niche. And the cool thing is you don't need a lot of people. In fact, they just posted a video on how we've generated up towards $1 million in sales with an audience of less than 5,000 people. Like, you don't need a lot of people to really create a strong foundation of a business that's producing $20, $30, $40, $50,000 per month in cash. And so I'm going to show you how I've done it, and hopes that it's going to help you. And so the biggest thing here is that your messaging, which is the words that you use in your content and in your marketing to articulate your offer. Does that make sense? So your messaging is kind of like calories to a meal plan. And so if somebody's just out there eating healthy food, maybe they stop binging and they stop eating like cheeseburgers and whatever stuff they're eating, and they start to eat healthier, that's a great start. Right? It's just like if somebody's out there and they weren't posting any content, they weren't doing any marketing, and they start posting content, they start marketing, that's awesome. But that's like the vehicle, right? Like, eating food is like the vehicle, right? If they're following a diet or whatever. Posting content is the vehicle. You see what I'm saying? And so the messaging are like the calories to the actual nutrition. So if somebody's eating healthy food, but if they're eating the right amount of the healthy food, right? They're eating the right amount of calories, the right proportions for them, then the food they're eating starts to help them with their goals, whether it's weight loss or building muscle. Same is true with our marketing. And so when we can use messaging that essentially connects with our audience emotionally and logically, and that keeps their attention, like that keeps them wanting to listen to you, wanting to consume your content, and that starts to convert them using some more powerful call to actions, more persuasion, more influence, which I'll share with you in just a second, This is how we start to move people through from being just a stranger on the internet to becoming a happy, loyal, and motivated client, motivated buyer, right? And so I learned a lot of this. Quick backstory. When I was running my gym, we were one gym, and on every corner, it felt like there was another gym. There was like all these franchises like Orange Theories, 9 Round Fitnesses. There was F45 wasn't really around back then, but there was, I'm trying to think, Cycle Bar. Like there was all these other like boutique style gyms, which I would consider myself at that time like more boutique, as we were like a more of like a boot camp style gym. And I found it incredibly hard. And I read this book, and it was called I believe it was The Blue Ocean Effect. And it opened my eyes to like positioning. And in that book, and you can go read, it's a great read. In that book, they were talking about like at the time when Curves Fitness came out, there was like Golds and all these other gyms, and Curves came out as like this all woman kind of circuit style gym, and it disrupted the marketplace big time. Right. And then, of course, like we had this chain of like all these other boutique style gyms that came to be, all these franchises. Right. Well, online, it's the same. Like the same thing is happening right now as it did back then. And so what I did with my gym is I positioned us differently. I created a unique mechanism. I created a whole storyline to our business, and it brought people in where we ended up serving over 4,000 humans at our gym. And we had around, I think it was like when I sold the gym, we had about 298 members, I believe it was. Which was a great membership base. And so what I've learned online, and I'm going to walk you through some steps here, is that like the main way people are trying to get clients is they're posting organic content, they're running ads, they're doing challenges, right? There's some kind of mechanism, some kind of vehicle. But what a lot of times happens, and this is out after reviewing, I've done at this point over the last few years, thousands of audits on fitness and health coaches, mindset coaches, life coaches, all kinds of coaches, content. And one of the main things I see is like people know that they're an expert, as I was alluding to, but there's not like the missing factor, which is like the messaging has to create demand and it has to persuade people to move forward. And here's how I've been able to do that. So get ready to take notes. This is going to be super powerful. Now, the first thing that you have to understand, and I think this is like where most people are, perhaps you already know this, and that's great. This is like step number 1. I just want to assume that you know this, so I'm going to walk you through it. You need to know the specific pains that somebody's currently experiencing, like the present moment symptoms that they have. You can't just say, hey, do you want to lose 20 pounds of fat? I mean, you certainly can say that, and you should, if, right? Like obviously in relation to whatever the problem you're solving, but you want to go deeper than that. So it's like, what are the specific pains that they're experiencing today, right? Are they sitting down at their desk and their belly is flapped over their belt and like they feel disgusting, right? Then, you get very specific to your avatar. Then it's like, what are the specific actions that they're currently taking to solve those problems, right? If you don't know the specific actions, it's not enough to say, are you restrictive dieting? People don't know that. Like people like don't, I've done so many interviews with people on weight loss, and half the time they don't even know if they're restrictive dieting. They're like, I don't know, I'm on Weight Watchers. And you might be like, that's restrictive dieting, but they don't know. So get like really specific, like what are they doing to try to solve that problem? Maybe it's nothing, right? And then what beliefs do they have? Why do they believe that they haven't been able to solve their problem? Right? Get specific here. Is it because they believe that it's their genetics? Do they believe they have to eat like very, very little and they have to work out really, really hard? Like, what are their beliefs that they believe that because of this, they haven't been able to solve their problems? Get very clear on that, and you're going to see why in just a moment. Okay? And the second thing that you have to do is create a villain to your brand. Right? And the villain's going to often come from the actions that they're currently taking. You're going to likely call these mistakes. Like for instance, in my audience, most people that are good fits to work with me, they're already out there posting content. They've already generated some revenue online. They've got some clients. They're not like complete brand new beginners. They've already been able to do stuff. But the problem is they're becoming very commoditized. They're kind of blending in with everybody else. And so it's a struggle for them to get clients. Right? And so the villain for us is commodity content. Like you're falling victim to this commodity content. Or another villain for us is like the old outdated models of like DMing hundreds of people a day, whatever, just to give you some examples. In my fitness business, a villain for us was the restrictive diet trap, right? We had the restrictive diet trap and we explained what that means to people. Or we had what was called the damaged metabolism, And so being able to create a villain to your brand is really huge, just like I have like these little superhero characters back here, right? I'm very into like storytelling and Marvel and all that stuff. And in any great story, there's an antagonist and a protagonist. You see what I'm saying? And so you've got to create that storyline to your brand to be able to stand out. And then the third thing that you want to be able to do is create an identity. And so likely your people right now are in some kind of identity they don't want to be in. That's why they're not changing. Maybe they think that if you're in the weight loss space, they're like, I'm overweight. So right now they identify as an overweight parent or something like that, right? You need to create a new identity that they aspire to be in. Maybe it's like the superhero dad or the fit parent or whatever, right? And in doing that, this is where a lot of people, they don't go deep enough in their content and in their marketing. And so what you want to do here is you want to start speaking to the aspirations of this identity. What do they aspire to be? Like for me, we have our identity as the in-demand coach. Like people that want to work with me, they want to be in demand in their market. Like they don't need to have like $1 billion brands, but they want to be able to have 30, 40, 50, $60,000 per month businesses where they're serving a lot of people and they're in demand in their sub niche. You see? And so there's an identity, there's an aspiration of what people are wanting to achieve. And so what is that for you? What are the aspirations? And when you can like grab those aspirations and be able to infuse them into your content, into your marketing, that alone starts to separate you from everybody else. It starts to connect with the people that are best suited to work with you because you start to speak to them on a deeper level, right? If you're just talking about problems like weight loss and XYZ, it speaks to people on a surface level. And that's cool. But if you go deeper to what they aspire, like the aspirations they have, that starts to connect with them on a much deeper level. And this alone will start to separate you from a lot of your other competitors, the other people that are saying the same thing as you online, right? And then once you've created that identity where you're helping them step into that identity, then you want to create a unique solution. Now, a unique solution, this can take time, but the easiest way to create a unique solution is think like, what have you done, right? So for me, we have what's called conversion content. This is a unique mechanism that I've created over the last decade of posting content, of running marketing campaigns. We've come up with our own kind of unique mechanism around it. And we have pillars to it. So one of our pillars is we teach people how to connect with their audience, much like I'm doing right now, right? Then we teach people how to captivate their audience. Then we teach people how to convert their audience, right? And so we have pillars to our brand. In our fitness, I came up with a solution called the Stubborn Fat Solution. This was my own journey of actually losing my own stubborn fat. And so I had pillars to it. We had to get our flexible nutrition in place. We had to get metabolic resistance training going on. We had to have what I called mind fuel, right? And so I came up with my own unique pillars. And what that did is separated me from somebody else that was like, yeah, I'll help you lose, 20 pounds. I was like, yo, I'll help you lose your belly fat through the Stubborn Fat Solution. Like and then I had a whole story around it, right? Which leads me to the last thing here is you need to create a new belief for people to believe. And so let's pause here for a second. We're going to recap this, but these are the 4 sales that you have to make. You might want to write these down. The first sale is you need to sell people on your new belief. Okay? If you don't sell people on your new belief, it's going to be really hard to stand out and you're going to have a hard time. This is where you get people on a sales call and they have all these objections, right? Sell people on a new belief. In our fitness brand, my new belief was you have to eat right, not just healthy. And so it was all about teaching people. So a lot of my content was me breaking their belief that they just had to diet or they just had to eat healthy. I was like, no, fool, you got to eat right. And then I had my case. I made a case against it. And I proved that to my audience. And when they believe that belief to be true, the second sale I made was the identity. You see why it's so important. I sold them on the identity, right? Of being a fit, like I served a lot of parents. So it was like really being a fit parent, right? And I sold them on that identity. They already wanted it, right? And then the third is your unique solution. The third sale you make in your content and in your marketing is your unique solution. When you sell people on your unique solution, the next question is, how do I get it? And then you sell them on your social proof, right? So that way they're like, oh my God, okay. So now other people are doing it. right? Other people are doing it, so it must work. And so when you make those 4 sales, it's incredibly powerful. And this is how I've outlined our messaging framework. And there's a bit more to it. It's a bit more nuanced. Typically when I work with people on this, I work with them one-to-one, so we can extract their unique story. We can create the unique beliefs and everything, so that way it's unique to them. And when you do this, it creates a category of one. And when you create a category of one, you're able to now stand out because, people are going to see, there's a coach, there's a relationship coach, here's a fitness trainer, here's an XYZ, but then there's you. And there's a bit more to this than this, but this right here alone, if you just apply what I just shared with you today, where you come up with get really specific with their pain, like the present moment symptoms that they're currently experiencing, at least 2 to 3 that you can infuse in your content. The actions they're taking to solve that right now, at least 2 to 3. And the current beliefs that they have to why they can't solve that problem. If you get specific there, then you create a villain around your brand. You create an identity that speaks to the aspirations, and you start to infuse the aspirations in your content along with the problems and things like that, right? And the wants and the desires. And then you create a unique solution out of it that's going to take you to another level. And then you create a new belief, which I would argue is the most important thing that you create inside of this. And when you do that, it becomes mega powerful. This is one of the secrets to how we've been able to grow my brick and mortar gym, how we've been able to, I was able to grow a multiple 6-figure online fitness business in under 14 months because of these, and how I was able to launch my current business now where I'm helping other health and fitness coaches build lifestyle businesses. It's the way we've been able to grow so fast, and the way we're helping people to grow is we're fixing up this foundation. And it's just like when you fix up somebody's nutrition and their workout, all of a sudden it's when they have they're eating the right amount of food, their body changes a lot faster. And it's the same thing with marketing and content. When you get that, when you can infuse and really get your messaging super dialed in, and you can position yourself differently, what happens is you start to create demand. You start to escape this commodity trap that a lot of people are falling into in the coaching space, and you start to create this demand for your stuff. People, they now believe what you believe if you do this correctly. They now want that identity, and so they're now buying an identity when they hire you. You see how powerful this is? And now your unique solution shows them how you're a bit different. And then you have you see what I'm saying? So it super powerful is what I'm trying to say when you put this in place. So hopefully you found this extremely valuable. Let me know if you have any questions down below. If you found this video helpful, make sure to click the like and subscribe for more. All right, my friends, as always, your message matters now more than it ever has before. Don't be afraid to speak it. Be seen, be heard, and be impactful.